They investigated crime and prosecuted the offenders, and brought the criminal justice system to life on our TVs. Law & Order and many of its spin-offs have featured some of the most talented actors in the biz, but many are no longer with us today. These are their stories. As cagey detective Lenny Briscoe, seasoned actor Jerry Orbach became one of the most beloved characters on Law & Order during its network run.
They're gonna pitch a tent outside your mother's house and they're gonna dig up every piece of dirt.
Orbach's pre-Law & Order career was well established. He'd been an original cast member in the musical The Fantastics and netted a Tony nomination as Billy Flynn in the original production of Chicago. His film roles include iconic work as Jennifer Grey's father in Dirty Dancing and the voice of Lumiere in Disney's animated Beauty and the Beast. Despite those laurels, Orbach's turn as Briscoe remained one of his most widely seen and well-regarded roles. Orbach's streetwise performance netted an Emmy nomination and 9 Screen Actors Guild nods for ensemble. He was diagnosed with prostate cancer 2 years into his stint on the show, but remained in treatment for the next decade until retiring from the series in 2004. Orbach died at the age of 69 on December 28, 2004. An original Law & Order cast member, Stephen Hill played the steely but philosophical New York City District Attorney Adam Schiff for the first 10 seasons of the NBC procedural. The show wasn't Hill's first bout with TV stardom. He was active in live production during the golden age of television in the 1950s, and played Dan Briggs on the first season of the original TV version of Mission Impossible. In addition to his early TV work, Hill also appeared in films like Legal Eagles, Heartburn, and The Firm. Hill retired from acting in 2000 with 2 Emmy nominations and 7 Screen Actors Guild nods to his name. He died at the age of 94 on August 23, 2016. Prior to joining the cast of Law & Order as District Attorney Arthur Branch, Fred Dalton Thompson had one of the most unique careers of any working actor in Hollywood. A former U.S. attorney and minority counsel for the Senate Watergate Committee in the 1970s, Thompson was also a 2-term Tennessee senator from 1994 to 2003. He even ran for president in 2007.
I was walking the walk when others weren't even talking the talk yet.
His acting career began in 1985 when director Roger Donaldson asked him to play himself in the film Marie about a corruption case involving Tennessee's governor. It was a case that Thompson had played a pivotal role in. He parlayed the performance into steady work as authority figures in films like The Hunt for Red October, Cape Fear, and perhaps most memorably, Die Hard 2. Thompson joined Law & Order during his final term as a senator and played Branch for 5 seasons before departing in 2007 to focus on his run for president. He also played Branch on 4 other Law & Order series, including 11 episodes of SVU and 13 episodes of Trial by Jury. Diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma in 2004, Thompson died after a recurrence of the disease at the age of 73 on November 1, 2015. Character actor Dennis Farina lent authentic law enforcement flavor to his 2-year run as the larger-than-life detective Joe Fontana on Law & Order. Like his character, Farina had been a former member of the Chicago Police Department before segueing into acting roles in films like Midnight Run and Get Shorty. Farina stepped into big shoes when he joined Law & Order in season 15 as Jerry Orbach had just left the show. Farina exited the series at the end of season 16 to pursue other projects. These included stints as host of Unsolved Mysteries and a recurring role on New Girl. Farina died from a pulmonary embolism at the age of 69 in Scottsdale, Arizona on July 22, 2013. When George Zunza decided to stop playing Sergeant Max Greevey in Season 1 of Law & Order, the producers tapped another formidable character actor to partner with Detective Mike Logan. His replacement was Tony-nominated character actor Paul Sorvino, who played Sergeant Phil Soretta in Seasons 2 and 3. Soretta offered an appealing counterpoint to Greevey. He was tough on criminals, but also compassionate with victims, whereas Greevey could be dismissive of lifestyles that differed from his. He departed Law & Order at the end of Season 3, citing long production hours as one of his primary reasons for leaving. Sorvino, who was perhaps best known as Mob Chief Paulie Cicero in Goodfellas, died at the age of 83 in Jacksonville, Florida on July 25, 2022. Comedian Richard Belzer found his defining role as the sardonic Baltimore police detective John Munch on the celebrated crime drama Homicide: Life on the Street. When the series ended, Belzer took Munch to New York for a 15-plus year run on Law & Order Special Victims Unit. He also played Munch on shows like The Wire and 30 Rock. By 2017, Belzer had played Munch for 22 consecutive seasons on Homicide and Law & Order. Prior to playing Munch, Belzer was an acerbic comic on the New York club circuit in the 1970s, as well as a warm-up comic and occasional performer in the early years of Saturday Night Live. He dallied with screen roles in the 1980s, appearing in Fame and Night Shift, as well as series like Miami Vice. Belzer left SVU in 2016 and appeared in occasional film and TV projects in the years after. He died of circulatory and respiratory issues at his home in France on February 19, 2023 at the age of 78. A beloved and familiar face on many procedurals, Andre Braugher had two important parts in the Law and Order world.
Begging your pardon, but I didn't spend 3 hours drinking coffee on Amtrak for a "we'll get back to you."
First and most importantly, he played defense attorney Bayard Ellis in 6 episodes of Law and Order Special Victims Unit. He also appeared as his homicide Life on the Street character Frank Pembleton on Law and Order. Braugher was a journeyman actor who had credits as varied as Glory, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and City of Angels. He was also a well-versed theatrical actor. Braugher died from lung cancer at the age of 61 on December 11, 2023. Best known to television audiences as the housekeeper Magda on Sex and the City, Lynn Cohen was a versatile character actor who appeared in numerous Broadway productions, as well as films like Munich and The Hunger Games: Catching Fire. Between these roles, Cohen enjoyed a recurring role on Law & Order as Manhattan Judge Elizabeth Meisner. The character made her debut on the series in Season 4 and returned 11 more times. In addition to her Law & Order stints, Cohen also logged 2 episodes apiece on both SVU and Criminal Intent. She continued working in features and on television until February 14, 2020, when she died in New York City at the age of 86. Prosecutors on Law & Order and SVU probably felt a bit of unease when they realized the trial and arraignment judge Margaret Berry was overseeing their case. After all, Berry demanded rock-solid evidence from the prosecution. Judge Berry was played by Doris Belack, a respected stage and TV actor known for her memorable comic roles in films like Tootsie and What About Bob. Belack died of natural causes at the age of 85 in New York City on October 4, 2011. In his 7 guest appearances on Law & Order, character actor James Rebhorn appeared on both sides of the witness stand. He played a diabolical criminal, a dogged lawyer, and even the intended victim of a crime. Rebhorn's extensive resume included roles in Independence Day, My Cousin Vinny, and Seinfeld, in which he played the lawyer that sent Jerry, George, Elaine, and Kramer to jail in the series finale.
This time, they are the ones who will pay.
He debuted on Law & Order in Season 2 as a vicious serial killer before appearing in 5 episodes as defense attorney Charles Garnett. After logging his final turn as Garnett in a Season 12 episode, Rebhorn returned in a small but critical role as a doctor targeted for his role in a lethal injection in a Season 18 episode. Following that 2008 performance, Rebhorn returned to a busy schedule of TV and film appearances, including 30 Rock and a recurring role on Homeland. He appeared in his final screen role in the 2013 TV movie Ordained. First diagnosed with melanoma in 1992, Rebhorn died from the disease at the age of 65 on March 14, 2014. Film, TV, and stage actor Mark Blum appeared as 3 different characters on 4 episodes of Law & Order. The most notable of these was Brooklyn Assistant District Attorney Frank Lazar. In addition to his role on Law & Order, Blum logged numerous appearances on television and in features, including a memorable part as Rosanna Arquette's duplicitous husband in Desperately Seeking Susan. He also had an award-winning career on the New York stage, winning an Obie Award in 1989 for the off-Broadway drama Gus and Al. Blum died of complications from the coronavirus at the age of 69 on March 25, 2020. As a Tony Award-winning Broadway actor and Emmy-nominated TV actor, George Grizzard brought his exceptional versatility to 5 guest appearances on Law & Order as the sly defense attorney Arthur Gold.
Arthur, I thought you retired. Oh, you can't keep an old dog down, Jack?
A longtime rival of Benjamin Stone, Gold's court strategy was to wear down prosecutors and judges alike by filing a flurry of motions during the case. Grizzard's final turn as Gold came in 2000. He continued to work steadily on stage and in features until 2006. Grizzard died the following year at the age of 79 from complications of lung cancer. A familiar face to film and TV audiences for more than 3 decades, actor Ron McLarty made 5 appearances on Law & Order, 4 of which were as Manhattan Judge William Wright. Judge Wright was a thorn in Jack McCoy's side on several high-profile cases. Though best known for his acting career, McLarty was an author and playwright and made headlines in 2001 after an audiobook recording of his unpublished novel, The Memory of Running, won praise from Stephen King. The publicity spurred Penguin Books to buy the rights to the book for $2 million in 2004. McLarty retired from acting after being diagnosed with dementia in 2014. He died at the age of 72 on February 8, 2020. Ron Silver played more than his share of legal eagles over the course of his career, including real-life lawyers Alan Dershowitz in the Oscar-winning thriller Reversal of Fortune and Robert Shapiro in the TV movie American Tragedy. Between these efforts, he played tenacious defense attorney Bernie Adler in 2 episodes of Law & Order. He later reprised Adler on an episode of Trial by Jury. Silver, a political activist who hosted a public affairs program on satellite radio in 2008, died from esophageal cancer at his home in Manhattan, New York on March 15, 2009. Philip Bosco was a 6-time Tony Award nominee and a veteran character actor in films and on television, most notably in My Best Friend's Wedding and the indie drama The Savages. Like many working New York actors, he logged numerous appearances in the Law & Order franchise, including 5 episodes on the flagship series and 6 guest spots on Special Victims Unit. He played defense attorney Gordon Shell in 3 episodes of Law & Order, before a one-off appearance as Dobbs, an attorney who claimed that his mob boss client was mentally incompetent, in a Season 8 episode. Bosco returned the following season for another one-off turn before moving to SVU to play Judge Joseph Tarrant in 6 episodes. His last screen role came with the 2009 indie When the Evening Comes. Bosco died of complications from dementia at the age of 88 on December 3, 2018. Larry Sherman, who played Judge Colin Frazier on 13 episodes of Law & Order, began appearing on Broadway in the 1940s before moving on to film in the 1950s. He then segued into sports journalism in the 1960s before serving as head of public relations for the New Jersey Generals, a United States Football League team owned at one point by Donald Trump. Sherman returned to acting in the 1990s and began his run as Judge Frazier in 1994. He made his last appearance as the judge in 2005. Sherman died in 2017 from natural causes at the age of 94. Character actor Ned Eisenberg was a go-to for unflappable defense attorneys on nearly all of the series within the Law & Order universe. He played defense attorney James Granick in 7 episodes of the flagship series, while also guest starring as 3 different lawyers on 24 episodes of SVU. Between these assignments, Eisenberg also appeared in 2 episodes of Criminal Intent, playing characters outside the legal profession. The Bronx-born Eisenberg was a familiar face in features and on television from the early 1980s to 2022. He played savvy streetwise characters in films like $1 Million Baby and on TV shows like Mayor of Easttown. He also appeared on Broadway in The Green Bird and Awake and Sing in the 2000s. The 65-year-old Eisenberg died of cancer at his home in Queens, New York on February 27, 2022. In 8 episodes of Law & Order, lawyers from the Manhattan District Attorney's Office appeared before Judge Rebecca Stein. Judge Stein was played by New York stage and television actor Joan Copeland, who was an early member of the Actors Studio and the sister of playwright Arthur Miller. Copeland made her Broadway debut in 1945 and returned to the stage throughout her long career, including a 2001 run in 45 Seconds from Broadway. Copeland also enjoyed character turns in several features, including 1958's The Goddess. Copeland died of natural causes at the age of 99 at her home in New York City on January 4, 2022. For the majority of 15 seasons on Law & Order, actor Merwin Goldsmith played arraignment judge Ian Feist, making his final appearances as the character in 2005. Goldsmith enjoyed a wide variety of roles in films and television over the course of his 5-decade career. His credits include film appearances in Quiz Show and Cadillac Man, as well as TV guest roles on The Good Wife and several daytime soaps. Goldsmith died of undisclosed causes at the age of 81 on January 21, 2019. Richard Hirschfeld played Assistant Medical Examiner Brody in 12 episodes of Law & Order and Detective Rich in 3 episodes of Criminal Intent. A native of Teaneck, New Jersey, Hirschfeld played minor roles in several features, including the Jennifer Lopez film Made in Manhattan, before making his first Law & Order appearance in 2002. Between his guest turns, Hirschfeld also acted in several short films and the 2016 indie Little Boxes, which proved to be his final screen credit. He died of undisclosed causes on April 11, 2017 in New York. David Little played 7 different characters on Law & Order and Criminal Intent. The majority of his appearances on the franchise were as judges and lawyers, including the tough but fair Judge Michael Schneider on 5 episodes of Law & Order. Throughout his career, he appeared on notable shows such as House of Cards and The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, among others. Little died at the age of 83 on January 2, 2021. Robert Hogan was a dependable presence in dozens of television series, including the original Twilight Zone, The Wire, and 3 series in the Law & Order franchise. Over 12 episodes, he played a cop whose son was a murder suspect, a white supremacist, and an array of judges and federal agents. In addition to his numerous guest appearances, Hogan also enjoyed recurring roles on shows like Alice and Murder, She Wrote. He worked less frequently in feature films, though he had supporting turns in Species 2 and Sweetland. Hogan died of complications from pneumonia at the age of 87 on May 27, 2021. Like Robert Hogan, actor Bruce MacVittie was a near-constant presence on stage and screen from the early 1980s to 2022. The Rhode Island native appeared in dozens of films and television series, including a total of 11 appearances on Law & Order and 2 of its spin-offs. MacVittie, who was known for playing tough, street-savvy types, played characters on both sides of the moral fence in his Law & Order guest roles. He also appeared in films like $1 Million Baby and enjoyed a 5-episode arc on The Sopranos as a juror browbeaten into acquitting Uncle Junior. MacVittie died in New York City at the age of 65 on May 7, 2022. Judges and police detectives were actor Mike Hodge's specialty on 3 Law & Order series. His most notable role was as Judge Delano Burns in 3 episodes of Law & Order. Hodge worked steadily in television from the 1980s to the early 2000s, landing guest roles on NYPD Blue, Third Watch, Blue Bloods, and other primetime programs. In 2010, Hodge was elected president of SAG-AFTRA's New York local chapter. He was elected president a second time in 2017, but died a month later at the age of 70 on September 9, 2017. From the late 1950s to the early 2000s, John McMartin was a familiar face to both TV viewers and moviegoers alike. He appeared in films like Blowout and guest starred on TV shows like Frasier. McMartin also guested on 5 episodes of Law & Order, including 2 appearances as defense attorney Larry Weber in seasons 2 and 4.
They were all playing bridge the night of the murder. Alibi witnesses.
A veteran stage performer, McMartin also collaborated with composer Stephen Sondheim on numerous occasions, including the Broadway run of Sweet Charity in 1966 and a revival of Into the Woods in 2002. McMartin made his last screen appearance in a 2015 episode of Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt before dying of cancer the following year at the age of 86. Raspy-voiced and imposingly built, Richard Bright rose to fame in the 1970s as Al Neri, Michael Corleone's fearsome bodyguard who carried out the murder of Fredo Corleone in The Godfather Part 2.
I can handle things, I'm smart! Not like everybody says!
He played equally formidable types in Once Upon a Time in America, Marathon Man, and Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid. His work on 4 episodes of Law & Order and 2 of its spin-offs afforded him a chance to play to his strengths. In a Season 7 episode of SVU, he played a monstrous child kidnapper and serial killer. The 68-year-old Bright was killed when he was struck by a bus in New York City on February 18, 2006.